Welcome to Story Spectrum. Have you ever looked at your cat, peacefully napping on your keyboard, and wondered how this little predator ended up ruling our homes and the internet? It's a wild story spanning thousands of years, from sacred temples to the coziest corners of our living rooms. This isn't just about how cats were domesticated, it's about how they domesticated us. Let's rewind the clock about 9,500 years. Forget Egypt for a moment. Our story starts in the Fertile Crescent, in what is now Cyprus. Archaeologists found a human grave with a tiny kitten buried right alongside them. This wasn't just any cat. It was an African wildcat, the ancestor of every house cat you've ever met. So, what were they doing together? Simple. Humans had just invented agriculture. We started storing grain, and with grain came mice and rats. Lots of them. For the wildcats, these human settlements were an all-you-can-eat buffet. For humans, these cats were free, furry pest control. It was a win-win. They weren't pets yet, more like useful neighbors who occasionally stopped by for a snack. This wasn't a one-time event. Genetic evidence shows that this happened independently in different places. Like cats in China started cozying up to farmers around 5,000 years ago for the exact same reason. The deal was struck. You keep the pests away, we'll let you hang around. Now let's jump to ancient Egypt, around 3,500 years ago. This is where cats got their big break. The Egyptians didn't just see them as pest control, they saw them as divine. Cats protected their precious grain stores, which were the lifeblood of their civilization. But it went deeper. They saw the grace and power of a hunting cat and associated it with their gods. The goddess Bastet, initially depicted as a fierce lioness, softened her image, becoming the beloved cat-headed goddess of home, fertility, and protection. Cats were mummified by the thousands, buried in special cemeteries with tiny saucers of milk for their journey to the afterlife. Killing a cat, even accidentally, was a capital crime. The historian Herodotus tells a story of how, when a house cat died, the entire family would shave their eyebrows as a sign of mourning. They weren't just pets. They were family members with a divine connection. Egyptian cats were so cherished that exporting them was illegal. But of course, you can't contain a cat. Phoenician traders, the smugglers of the ancient world, snuck them onto their ships, and from there, cats began their conquest of the globe. As cats sailed out of Egypt, their reception was mixed. In the Roman Empire, they were still valued for their mousing skills. They became the unofficial mascots of the Roman legions, traveling across Europe, keeping granaries and army camps rodent-free. While Romans appreciated their practical use, they preferred ferrets for indoor pest control. Cats were seen as more independent, creatures of the barn and the street, not necessarily the hearth. Still, they spread. Everywhere the Romans went, cats followed, adapting and breeding with local wildcat populations, leading to the diverse breeds we see today. They were becoming a common sight from the fields of Britain to the markets of Gaul. Then came the Middle Ages in Europe, and things took a dark turn for our feline friends. The independent, mysterious nature that the Egyptians revered was now seen as sinister. During the height of the witch hunts, cats, especially black cats, were associated with witchcraft and the devil. Their nocturnal habits, silent movements, and glowing eyes made them perfect symbols of evil in a superstitious age. Popes issued decrees against them, and across Europe, cats were hunted and killed in horrific numbers. This had an unintended and devastating consequence. With the cat population decimated, the rat population exploded. And what did those rats carry? Fleas that carried the bubonic plague. The Black Death swept through Europe, wiping out up to half the population. It's as a grim irony. The very animal that could have helped control the plague spread was being systematically destroyed. Some historians argue that the persecution of cats directly contributed to the severity of the pandemic. But you can't keep a good cat down. As the Renaissance dawned and the superstitions of the Middle Ages began to fade, cats started to make a comeback. They found a new and crucial role aboard the ships of the Age of Discovery. Every vessel crossing the Atlantic to the Americas had a ship's cat on board. Their job was vital: protect the food stores from rats and prevent the rodents from gnawing through ropes and sails. They were essential crew members, credited with ensuring the safety and success of long voyages. They were so important that their presence was often noted in the ship's log. It was these brave seafaring cats that first brought the species to the Americas, where they quickly spread, once again proving their worth to a new world of farmers and pioneers. They were back in business as humanity's pest control partners. The 18th and 19th centuries saw another shift in our relationship with cats. As society became more industrialized and urban, the need for a mouser in every home diminished. Instead, people started appreciating cats for something else: their companionship. The Victorian era, with its love for home and domestic life, was the perfect environment for the cat to finally move from the barn to the living room. They became fashionable pets, especially among artists and writers. The first ever cat show was held in London's Crystal Palace in 1871, signaling a new era of breeding and appreciating cats for their beauty and pedigree, not just their utility. Suddenly, it wasn't just about having a cat. It was about having a specific kind of cat, like a fluffy Persian or a sleek Siamese. This is when the idea of the house cat, as we know it, truly solidified. And that brings us to today. The 20th and 21st centuries have been the golden age for cats. They've completed their journey from wild hunters to pest controllers, from divine beings to demonic symbols, and finally to cherished members of our families. But their conquest didn't stop at our homes. They took over the internet. From the first keyboard cat to the endless stream of memes, GIFs, and viral videos, cats dominate our digital world. Why? Maybe it's their unpredictable nature, their mix of regal aloofness and goofy antics. They are the perfect content machines. They can be graceful one moment and absurd the next. This digital fame has only deepened our affection for them. Today, there are an estimated 600 million pet cats worldwide. We spend billions on their food, toys, and healthcare. They've become therapy animals, social media stars, and silent confidants. They comfort us, entertain us, and frustrate us in equal measure. So, what have we learned from this 9,500-year-long journey? The story of cats is inseparable from the story of human civilization. They've been our partners through agricultural revolutions, the rise and fall of empires, global pandemics, and voyages to new worlds. It's a relationship built on mutual benefit that blossomed into genuine affection. They came into our lives to hunt our pests, but they ended up capturing our hearts. They walked into our settlements on their own terms and decided to stay, proving that maybe we didn't domesticate the cat at all. Maybe, just maybe, they domesticated us, training us to provide food, shelter, and endless adoration. The next time your cat demands a treat or knocks something off a shelf just to watch it fall, remember the long, incredible history behind that little creature. They've earned their place on the throne. Or at least on that warm spot on your couch. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. See you in another story.